Let's tell you what happened today in the Senate. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has raised an alarm over the persistent economic sabotage which has undermined investor confidence in the petroleum sector. He was declaring that at the Senate that the Senate must identify and hold those accountable for the criminal acts. Senator Akpabio made the declaration today during the inauguration of the Senate ad hoc committee to investigate alleged sabotage in the sector. At the inauguration, the Senate President said that it is not merely an investigation, but a rescue mission for the nation's future. He also adds that it is a matter of national security and sovereignty if left unchecked and could cripple the economy for generations to come. All right, tonight, my very first guest was one of those who had written an open letter to President Bola Tinubu a few days ago. A former presidential hopeful and a publisher, a journalist who ran for the primaries of the PDP, Chief Dele Momodu, wrote an open letter telling President Bola Tinubu that Nigeria is in a big trouble. He's advising the president to enforce leadership and discipline as a leader in his party, in government, and all that. In his message titled, Urgent Message for President Tinubu, Mr. Momodu called on the president to sanction the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, arguing that they disrespected him in the Fubara matter. In the other state of the nation matter, he said, our economy has virtually collapsed. He then indicted President Tinubu, saying, you've been wasting too much money at a time that requires absolute frugality. Please stop this recklessness, propensity for wasting scarce resources. Those are some of the words of Chief Dele Momodu. I'm being joined by Chief Dele Momodu, who joins us live from our Lagos studio. It's good to see you, and thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight, Chief Dele Momodu.
Good evening, Sheun from Lagos, and you are welcome back to the land of your forefathers. We were all worried when they said you were sacked, but we're happy that you are back.
Thank you so much indeed. Let me begin and take you up quickly on some of the content of your letter, of open letter to the president. And you told the president that you know him very well, is your friend, and also that you will tell him the truth. But there are those who have criticized you that you're probably speaking as though you are an opposition. You've worked in the PDP, you've worked for Atiku Abubakar, and that those in the APC will say, oh, Dele Momodu, hold on for a moment. Allow this president to settle down and get things done. There are those who believe that Bola Tinubu is fixing Nigeria and the fruit of his labor and his effort in governance will yield fruit. Have you listened to that narrative? And how do you reply to those?
Well, you've asked so many questions in one sentence. And my answer is very simple and straightforward. One, I did not say he is not trying. But what I'm suggesting is that there are some urgent steps I expected him to take, and those steps have not been taken. Those who say, oh, I should allow him to settle down. I've been in politics, analyzing politics in Nigeria since 1982, 42 years. And I can tell you that more often than not, the beginning always determines the end in Nigerian politics. I have no doubt in my mind that this government is not ready, and I will give you my reasons. But before I do that, let me tell you that one of the reasons it took me about a year plus to write this letter was that I listened to different people. There were people who called me directly. Some people called my family, say, oh, Tinubu is your friend. You were together in exile, and I appreciate all those sentiments. So you would have noticed that even my column on the back page of This Day, I rested it in the last 1 year deliberately because I know I'll be tempted to write some things which some of these elders that I respect so much will frown at. And that's one of the reasons I didn't write anything. I remember a general, a retired general in particular, who called my wife and said, oh, no, Dele should leave Bola alone. And I said, no, I'm not holding him. All I think I owe him is to tell him the truth. Let me tell you, I started my life from Ife, from reading Professor Wole Soyinka. You can see the book does not even have a cover. I bought this book in 1978 on 21st June. The man dies in all who keeps silent in the face of tyranny. So I have seen that this government would wish, if possible, to have a one-party state. So, but why did we go to exile? Why did people die for democracy if at the end of the day we're not going to practice democracy? Is it not hypocritical of me and the rest of us if we don't speak truth to our friend, which we were able to speak to Obasanjo, we were able to speak to Yar'Adua, we were able to speak to Jonathan, we were able to speak to Buhari. Even Buhari, who left power as an APC president, APC is attacking him today. So why should opposition logically not be able to speak truth to the APC ruling government? So that is where we are. And what did I say to him? That Nigeria is heading, one, in the wrong direction, heading into trouble. I saw what happened and still happening in Kenya. Oh, it's our leaders in their moment of giddiness will say, oh, it cannot happen here because we apply ethnic coloration. We have a Yoruba president, whether we like it or not, he must do his 8 years. It's enough that he's fighting. It's the obedience. I mean, all these things we've heard before. It does not help a nation. So I expect the president to do the following. One, cut the waste. It is too much. It is gargantuan. I remember Chief M. Abiola used to say that there is enough for the need of every Nigerian, but there is not enough for the greed of some Nigerians. Nigeria, God has given Nigeria everything that we need to survive, and not just to survive, but to make progress. But unfortunately, some politicians are not ready. They are not prepared to downgrade their lifestyle. And I keep telling them, if you know that politics is not profitable for you, you can go back to your business. I've been doing my own little business. I'm a man of modest income. I've never been in government. Tinubu was governor for 8 years in Lagos. Did you see me there? I didn't ask for appointment. Buhari, that I supported, after 2 months, I saw he was going nowhere. Immediately, I apologized to Nigerians. And so why should I now keep quiet and not be able to talk to my own friend and my own brother? Because some people say, oh, but you could have requested for an appointment to see him. I said, no, I will not allow myself to be blackmailed by busybodies who are waiting. Dele will soon go to Aso Rock to go and beg for appointment. And that's the cheap blackmail that we all get in Nigeria. A man who has been who has never been in power in 42 years. You are now saying he is desperate. No, I'll be 65 next year. And I have my plans already for my retirement. I've completed the leadership center in Ibadan with library, with everything. The path I've chosen for myself is different. I want to be free to tell my friends the truth, because in the future, someone will say, but you spoke about all the other leaders. How come you couldn't speak about Bola Tinubu? And that is why I am addressing this letter to the president, that please cut the waste. That is the number one. It's very urgent. Then empower our youth by igniting a vocational revolution. It's not just about people going to school. We have so many graduates, if not millions of them now, who can find jobs. There are things you can do. Now they say they are sending 50,000 naira to about 3 million Nigerians. I beg, how does that make sense in a country of over 200 million people? That money could have created more than 1 million fresh entrepreneurs who will get 1 million each immediately. And then those ones, you have the domino effect. Those ones will now employ people, 5 to 10 people each. You don't give, there is no way you just give money out as if it's water. The Buhari people did it. They will put cash on table. At this time and age, in these modern times, put cash on table, and people will queue up like beggars to come and collect 5,000 naira. It's demeaning on Nigerians. Nigerians are too brilliant, too energetic, and too ambitious for them to be reduced to robots and slaves.
Yeah. Let me jump in quickly. When some of the words you use seems to have angered some people who are supporters of the APC and who are also followers of the Bola Tinubu School of Governance. For example, when you said that this economy has virtually collapsed, there are those who say that was too dramatic and you were unfair to this government. And there are those who will say you are one of those who had said in your article, in the Pendulum, some of which I've read, you had asked for the removal of fuel subsidy. And one of your Pendulum write-ups, you had made reference to the effort of Bukola Saraki when he was Senate president, when he was on the Senate, the floor of the Senate, when he raised an alarm about the issue of the fraud on fuel subsidy. Now, there are those who had asked President in the past to remove fuel subsidy, which was largely or partly a political decision. There are those who say every president had been asked to do it, but Bola Tinubu took the boat, handed it. There are those who say the disparity in the FX window. Bola Tinubu came, made an economic policy, and fixed all of this. And there are those who will say, oh, they responded to you and say, for example, the monitored IMF projections of an economic growth in Nigeria is perhaps one of the highest for any third economy. There are those who will say the trade figures in Nigeria does not reflect what Dele Momodu is propounding. The president has said some of the policy will be like the pain of childbearing. After some time, it will bear fruit. Is it that you are being dramatic, or perhaps, according to the followers of the APC, saying that you are not speaking the truth?
Who are these followers of APC, and when did they become followers of APC? That's another matter. But I will answer you directly and frontally that when you talk about economics and the economy, they are two different things. Economics is the theoretical aspect of the economy. The economy is the practical side of economics. No matter the highfalutin theories you bring from IMF, from World Bank, as long as it does not reflect on the lives of Nigerians, you are just blowing grammar. It's all about semantics. I am telling you, sir, that there is no country. If you look at crisis from Venezuela to anywhere, even Brazil, go and read their trajectories, you will see that IMF is always a problem. During the Babangida era, I remember one of the first stories I wrote for African Concord magazine was on SAP. They told us SAP is the magic word. SAP is the only thing that will lead us to heaven and paradise. Where did SAP leave Nigeria? Maybe you will remember the SAP riot of 1989. Me, I'm a good student of Nigerian history. And I know that what these people are saying, oh, just relax. Let me tell you, why would a leader be sworn in on May 29, 2023, and the first thing he will do is to give bad news to the people? You are talking about renewed hope. You did not even wait 1 second. If you rush a patient to a doctor, what's the first thing the doctor will do? The doctor will first stabilize the patient. So if they rush a patient to a doctor, and then the doctor says, oh, this guy cannot survive, he said, let's just give him injection so he can die once and for all. That's what happened on May 29, 2023. The doctor gave an injection. We killed Nigeria instantly. There was no rush. You needed to be there, since you were not there with Buhari, to know why Buhari, an army general, lacked the courage to take that decision. But because our man was goaded into believing that because you are Bola Tinubu, you can do anything and nothing will happen. Show courage, show muscle. That's what led us to this crisis. We have not recovered. Just one injection, Nigeria went into coma. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but Chief Dele Momodu, you have also inferred in that your open letter that it doesn't look like you believe in those people around the president. You have inferred in your letter that perhaps they are not telling the president the truth and they are not advising him well. Are you saying that the president does not have competent hands in his cabinet to deal with the economic situation in the country? Or what exactly are you saying in straight terms?
I am someone who believes in star-studded cabinets. If you ask me today, President Ibrahim Babangida, minus the June 12 annulment, he had one of the best cabinets in Nigeria, and he tried his best. Obasanjo, Baba, also tried his best to assemble the best. Today, and God is my witness, today, if you ask me to name 10 ministers in Tinubu's cabinet and to tell you what they did or did not do before they were appointed, I will struggle. That is the truth. And ask an average person. And I don't consider myself average not to. Look, what we have today is that someone transferred the Lagos template to Abuja. And that's why we're failing. Nigeria parades some of the greatest human beings on planet Earth. I've traveled a bit. There is nowhere up to Australia that I did not meet Nigerians doing great things. Where are those people? In today's Nigeria, is either you are the son of, the daughter of. Nigeria cannot continue to operate on the basis of compensation. I must compensate my friend. I must compensate my former schoolmate. No. Nigeria right now is playing World Cup and you are picking weak players. No, we can't do that. And that's why I wrote that letter. A lot of the people around there now, their lives totally depend on Tinubu. They cannot tell him the truth. I know what a lot of them say behind when they see us that, we can't talk, if we talk, that is the truth. And I'm one of the people he knows. Right from when we were in exile, when he was governor for 8 years, I would tell him, I will write letters. And I'm a letter writer anyway. I write letters all the time. I wrote to President Obasanjo, I wrote to Buhari, I wrote to all of them, Jonathan. And that is why I'm also writing to a man that I know we've come way back. If he's watching, he knows that I always tell him.
Chief, Chief Momodu, you have proffered some solutions just before when you're premising your stance about what his government is doing. And for me, the conversation is not about political party right now. It's about our nation, because we are in some kind of doldrum. And either we like it or not, we need a way forward. If there is one thing that this president needs to do right now to really get this nation working, because we are the giant of Africa, we cannot be behaving like dwarfs and behaving as though we do not have the capacity in our potential as a people. If he is to make any decision that will have a drastic difference in our nation today, what would that be?
Kill this profligacy. That is number one. The economy, no matter what you do, continue to borrow money to fund lifestyle. Nigeria will continue to fail. So the president must make that personal choice and personal sacrifice by calling his people to order and making himself a scapegoat. If I were in his shoes, that's the first thing I will do to make sure. Look at this issue of presidential jet. People shouted against it, they didn't listen. Yacht, people shouted against it, they didn't listen. Building of houses for Mr. President or Vice President, they did not listen. So how do you dare expect people to follow you in good conscience? They said the man on whose behalf you are fasting should not be seen eating lunch. That's the way the Yoruba say it. So you want Nigerians to fast and because of you to succeed, and yet the biggest beneficiary of that success, people are seeing you enjoying life. You are not even ready to compromise your own personal lifestyle. Then people are not going to follow you. The key element of leadership is trust. Once people trust you, when the disciples of Jesus trusted him, he told them to come. You will float on water. They will believe him because they can see him himself floating. So it shouldn't be a case of do as I say and not as I do. And that is why I am saying in that letter that the greatest thing you can do for Nigeria is to make that personal sacrifice. Sell off all this presidential jet. Before you became president, God blessed you. you had your own private jet. You can go back to it. If your entourage needs to come with you, call Air Peace or any airline that has good planes in Nigeria, and they will supply. You will pay. The money remains in Nigeria. That's the way it should be done. So if the Pope is going somewhere now...
There are those who will say, okay, there are those who will say, show me one country that does that, where their leader fly private jet. Those who will make the assertion or the debate that it's is a national security matter. But Chief Dele Momodu, before you go, I'd like you to touch on the issue of the Dangote Refinery and some of the controversy that has arisen in that regard. It's becoming messy by the day, and some of the utterances and the response gotten from Mr. Aliko Dangote is looking that there is an effect directly on the private sector, on the petroleum sector. And you heard when he was speaking with the federal lawmakers, when they visited the facility in Lagos, something is amiss here. Are you able to decipher what exactly is going wrong?
Well, again, social media is awash and abuzz with the issue of this Dangote Refinery. And instead of me rehashing what people are saying, let me just tell you my own solution. Mr. President, in this season of anomy in Nigeria, needs all the friends he can get in the private sector. Nobody should feel victimized. I saw the frustration in Dangote's voice when I was watching him on television. His hair has grown gray all of a sudden, almost looking like Wole Soyinka. And it's almost looking like it's a crime to be an investor in Nigeria. And I saw the reports in the Financial Times, in Bloomberg, and all of them. It will not help Nigeria. No matter what anybody has, I don't know who has grudges to bear with him, they should call him into a bedroom. If it is money, they should talk to him. Oh, we heard that you collected this, you didn't do that. Let them go and settle it behind closed doors. We cannot afford to wash this dirty linen in public. It's going to boomerang on all of us. And that's my attitude. And I believe this man has invested so much in Nigeria, just like other people. We have lots of good businessmen in Nigeria who are doing great things. We should encourage them and not, because if they all run away, now he said one of his friends is laughing at him because he warned him not to put all his eggs in one basket. I've seen other countries where Dangote invested. I've been to his plant in Ethiopia, I've been to his plant in Zambia, I've been to his plant in Tanzania, and I can see the efforts those countries are making to accommodate him there. We should not chase our businessmen away. I'm sure other business people in Nigeria are watching and they say, hey, if this can happen to Dangote, it might happen to me. And everybody is scared. We should not create this panic. We can't afford this at this time.
All right. Chief Dele Momodu, a former presidential hopeful and a journalist and publisher. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me, Shehu. Thank you.